Hi guys, we are going to make our own compost for planting seeds in our trays. So we've just taken some of our soil from our previous place. I made this little homemade grid that fits over a wheelbarrow. So you just pour it on and you just take your lovely hands and you just play with the soil. Push it gently so it goes through the grid. And all the hard wood chips and bigger stones stay at the top and the fine compost goes through. So this is good fun. So here we have our sifted out seedling compost, but we do put a few amendments in with it. I like to put a bit of perlite just to get some air into the roots. We use some vermiculite to keep the moisture. The moisture goes in the vermiculite for the plants. Definitely some vermicompost. This is magic stuff, and a bit of root build to help the little seedlings as they grow. So I basically just do my measurements with my eyes. I just sort of pour it in. And just mix it. I'll take a bit of a shovel here. Put a bit more. Actually, you want to just put the whole bag in.
When in doubt, chuck the whole bag. Look, you made a heart.
This is the fun part, using your hands and just mixing everything together. You can get your children involved, they'll love this. Gracie loves preparing compost for our seedlings, getting her hands in the soil. And I put a bit of this old bag of vermiculite. Some root builder. Some vermicompost. There we go, folks. This is how we do our mix for our seedlings. I'm sure there's other ways of doing it, but this is how we do it. At the moment we're just wetting our soil to hydrate the soil so we can put it in the seedling trays, and it just gives the seedling a bit of a kickstart, having a little bit of moisture in there. So that's the reason why we're watering our compost.
Just easier to work also with the soil when it's slightly more moist.
Okay. Then we stack the seedling trays on our makeshift seedling table here. It's a nice height so your back doesn't get sore. Then you literally scoop your beautiful seeding compost and fill up your trays. When we first got these lovely trays, they had very small holes in them. So what I find when the seedlings are ready to be planted in the field, it's difficult to get them out. So what I did, I just took a bigger drill bit and drilled bigger holes at the back of the trays. So when I want to seed, I just put my finger in there and pop out the seedlings and plant them in the field. We have Tanner here interested in the compost. Hey Tanner, what do you see there? Do you see any worms? Okay. You're also very interested in seeding, eh? Sowing seed.
Guys, we have a whole selection of seeds here that we want to sow today. And when I look at what we want to sow, I always feel overwhelmed by the amount, and also just trying to figure out how much you need to sow of each of these. And I think what I'm going to do next, because I do want to sow for us our own kitchen garden, which will actually be minimal sowing, and then I want to sow for the Lechem Foundation food garden as well. So I'm going to make two piles, one pile that we have to sow in bulk, which would be for us as well as the Lechem Foundation, and then the pile where we're just going to sow for our kitchen garden, and then we'll take it from there. Okay guys, I'm done sorting the seeds, but my original thinking of sorting between planting for us versus planting for the Lechem garden didn't work out, because I just realized we want to plant everything for both. So I have sorted them into groups of planting. So this would be the bean pile, and this is the pepper pile, and there we've got some peas, and these ones we could actually put together because they're all from the squash family, your patty pans and your baby marrows. And then we have some flowers. So yeah, that kind of sorting didn't help me, and to make things even more complex, I've just gone through our crate of seeds that we have harvested from our own garden in previous seasons. So we have plenty of basil seeds, which we can actually just direct seed, I think, into the field. And this is some rocket. We also have cayenne peppers, and this excites me, some seeds from pepper dews, or peppers that are reserved as pepper dews, so maybe we'll sow some of that as well. This is nasturtium seeds, which we've harvested from our own garden as well. And these are lazy housewife beans. Whoever came up with that name, probably not alive anymore. So yeah, we can actually use some of our own seeds instead of the store-bought ones. Maybe save that for another day, but we'll see. So yeah, plenty of seeds, and I don't even think we have enough trays to sow all of this in, so we'll see how we go. Right, so before we start sowing, I just quickly want to mention how we mark our trays, because that's really important. And believe me, you're not going to remember what you've sown in which tray. Doesn't matter how you arrange them. We have made that mistake too many times. So trust me, find a system to mark your trays properly. So our complexity or our challenge with the black trays is that no marker really shows up well on them, and sometimes some of the markers also wash off when you water the trays. So we have found ice cream sticks to be very effective, and we just write the name of the crop that we are sowing on the ice cream stick and we stick it into the tray. We'll stick it on there somewhere, and Craig's just reminded me that we also put the date of sowing. So that's important to keep track of germination rate if you want to start recording how quickly seeds germinate in your area, because what they put on the back of a seed packet, it says, you know, it takes 7 to 14 days, but we have found some seeds germinate under 5 days in our area because of our climate, and in some other regions it might take 17 days. So that is just a very general guideline, and you need to be aware of how long seeds take to germinate in your area, because you might think nothing is happening and you want to chuck out the whole batch when actually you just needed to be a little bit more patient and wait a few more days. So Greg, what he's busy doing at the moment here is he's taking one of these pens, the back of a pen, and he's just making holes in the seedling tray where we're going to put the seeds in. So it's just a small indentation. It goes quite quickly, and then once we have sown the seeds, we'll water or close them up again, and then give them a very light sprinkling. So yeah, let's start marking our seeds. Yeah. The other thing we need to mention in sowing is that when we sow seeds, we sow them approximately twice the depth of the seed. So if you have a very small seed, it's going to be just underneath the surface of your soil. So you're not going to sow a tiny rocket seed, for example, very deep down into your seedling tray. Whereas a bean seed, which is bigger, you can sow up to 2 centimeters underneath the ground because of the size of the bean. So the size of your seed determines how deep you plant it. We'll be shocked sometimes to see how little seeds come in a packet. We bought these patty pans. It's a Stark Airs brand, a non-GMO seed. So in Windhoek or Namibia, at the nurseries, they go for 40 Namibian dollars. That's 40 rand. And these seeds you see here in my hand are from 2 packets. That's it. So you really don't get a lot of seed in these smaller packets. They are ideal for a home garden. So if you have planting, if you want to plant for yourself, it's fine buying these smaller seed packets. But obviously planting on a larger scale, you need to buy seed in bulk. So my suggestion would be that you contact your distributor, your supplier directly, and ask them for bulk packets. But this, guys, very expensive seeds. So I'm hoping I've got to make this count.
Yeah, we're just setting our greenhouse up for our seedlings. Basically our seedling chamber, just a little one, but it's efficient. And I'm just putting a bit of sand around the edges. We do have tree rats here, field mice that love to get to our lovely, delicious, juicy seedlings. So just putting some precautions in, just in case.
made a mistake using a non-permanent marker. I thought I was using a permanent marker, but clearly I didn't. So it looked like this when I wrote it and I put it in the seedling trays, but the moment we started watering, it turned out to smudge like this because this was a non-permanent marker. So please make sure when you do mark anything, whether it's on wood or whether we're going to use plastic now. This was just an old ice cream container lid which we've cut like this. Make sure that you're using a permanent marker when you are marking these tags. Okay, just showing you what we've sown today. We've got some patty pans. We have 6 different varieties of tomatoes, 3 of them which we've tried, and they've grown wonderfully here in our climate. And then we're trying 3 new ones. We have sweet peppers, and we have, these are all tomatoes. We also have sweet or sugar snap peas. This is a bean, lazy housewife, it's a climber. And we've got, oops, what is this? This is also a bean variety. These are bush varieties. And then we have jalapenos, cucumbers, some eggplants which we've sown here. This is zucchini. This one, let's see. This is nasturtium. So nasturtium flowers are edible and they're also great to have in the garden. They attract the aphids so that the aphids don't attack the plants. And then we have some artichokes and marigolds, also butternut, and there's some pumpkin as well. I think here's the pumpkin. So, and more artichoke. The other thing to sow in summertime would be your beets, and you can also do carrots year round. Both of those you can do year round. We just find with carrots they develop more sugars when the temperature is cooler, so your carrots won't be as sweet tasting if you plant them in spring, if you plant them in spring and summertime, but they taste great when planted in autumn and then of course winter. What you could also do is sow them in autumn, leave them for the winter, and then harvest them early spring. Then they'll be nice big carrots, but if you can't wait that long, you can always harvest them when they're smaller during the winter time. Okay guys, that's a wrap from us. It is now 12:30. We started at 9 o'clock this morning, so we did a good 3.5 hours of sowing. And as you can see behind me, the seedling shed is full of seeds. We've actually made extra shelving there at the back, even here on the ground and on the sides. So we'll keep you posted on the progress and how long it takes to germinate. We are expecting to see some germination within 7 days, and some of the plants or varieties such as the tomatoes will probably take a bit longer, but we'll just keep watering. So the important thing now is, once you have sown your seeds, is to keep the soil moist. If the soil dries out at any point during this germination stage, it's basically game over for that crop. So we have to keep the soil moist at all times. That means watering several times in the day. Also, the second thing I want to mention is that seedlings or seeds don't need light to germinate. So think of a seed being planted in the ground. There's no sunlight below the surface of the soil. So even think of microgreens, that also germinates in a dark chamber. So seeds don't need light to germinate, they need moisture. And then once they germinate and they push out the first leaves, they are going to need sunlight. If they don't have sufficient sunlight, that's when you get them growing quite tall and they've floppy stems and they start falling over. That's a telltale sign that your plants aren't getting enough sunlight. but for now they're fine where they are. We've put them on the south side of our cottage. It gets a little bit of morning sun, and then the rest of the day it'll be in shade, but this greenhouse plastic also keeps it warmer in there. So that's the other thing that seeds need, would be warmth. Most of them need a bit of warmth and the soil temperature to be at a certain level before they will germinate. So seeds know when it's winter, when it's unlikely for them to survive if they do germinate, so they'll hold back on germination until the soil temperature reaches at least 15 degrees Celsius. So in this greenhouse with the greenhouse plastic, that is certainly not a problem. So even though the sun is not shining on this directly, the plastic holds the warmth or the heat inside. So the seeds will germinate just fine in here. We'll just have to check on them and move them to a different place once they've germinated to prevent them from growing tall and floppy. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions about seedlings or starting your seeds or planting seeds or anything that we've shown you today in this video, please ask us, post a comment down below, and we'd be sure to answer you.